Be evergreen.
Be evergreen.
Ever be green.
Yes, and talking about green, the topic today is Go Green with the Green Man himself and the LOHAS Country Manager, Matthias Gelber. Thank you very much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
And you're so green.
Yes, hijau
Yes.
all the way.
All the
Has to
way.
be, has to
Yes, you walk the talk,
Literally.
literally.
Literally. I mean, if you tell Yasmin about your electricity bill, I think she would get a little shocked.
be. Yeah, since I've moved to Malaysia, my electricity bill in average has been 30 ringgit a month. So how is that for going green?
See,
Low
we
carbon
should have
footprint.
zoomed in on her eyes.
Sorry, I mean, you know.
So what's yours, Yasmin?
I have to admit, I do use the air conditioner. So it's about 120, 150 a month.
That's still okay lah.
That's still okay lah. That's
Still
still
okay.
okay lah.
Yeah,
You know,
I must admit.
Yeah.
I already expected 200, 300, 400.
Wow.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
But I guess it depends on the, what kind of
Appliances.
that you use. You know, whether are you using a 10-year-old fridge or you know, the brand new ones. You know, small things like that.
Sometimes it's got some great tips on that. These are things that I use myself, so my bill is about the same as his now.
Wow,
Serious?
nice
Yeah.
one.
So
Nice
tell
one.
us about
Yeah.
your applications.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I try to use the fan instead of the aircon. That's the big difference, because the aircon really sucks the electricity, and we think the electricity comes from the plug, but it comes from the power plant, and that's the point, you know, where all the emissions are being generated, particularly if we have non-renewable fuel like coal, gas and diesel, then we have loads and loads of emissions.
Yes.
On the other hand, I think if you have an energy efficient fridge, or if you switch off your TV appliances in the night, then you can save a lot of electricity. And what viewers should actually take note of, electricity will get more expensive in the future because the country can't afford to subsidize all of the cheap gas that TNB has been using, or Petronas won't be subsidizing that anymore in the future. So electricity bills will go up. All the money that you save now today is going to be additional, more pocket money in the future. That's what I tell people actually. Green living is cheaper living than normal living, because most people think going green is expensive. Yes, the organic apple that I have eaten this morning for breakfast is slightly more expensive than the normal apple, but it's worth it because it's about our health. Otherwise, we eat stuff with pesticides inside, we contaminate the soil, we contaminate the water. So it's worth it us investing more money, because we reduce the pollution that otherwise would cost us loads of money in health costs, in treating of diseases, and so on and so on.
You've talked about this before as well.
Yeah.
The more people that go green,
Yes.
the cost will eventually come down, because more people are getting in on it, and the production cost of organic material, production cost of green appliances will also come down.
Yeah.
So why aren't more people going green? Well, what is the issue here?
I think I put it on Facebook last night as well. I asked my Facebook fans, like, how can we make Malaysia go green on a large scale? And a lot of people said that they think people perceive green as being inconvenient, and people perceive green as being more expensive. That's why people are kind of reluctant to change what they're doing. I organized a lot of tree planting events as part of a movement that I started on Facebook called Eco Warriors. I found it quite easy to get people recruiting for events like that, a one-off event, but for people to change their daily lifestyle. Look at, for example, public transport, or look at changing behaviors at home, like switching away from the air conditioning system. That is seen as inconvenient, but I understand people. If I wouldn't be living close to public transport, it would be much more difficult for me to live without a car. Since I've moved to Malaysia 7 years ago, I haven't had a car, but I've always made an effort in living close to public transport infrastructure. So the choices we make with that in mind can help us make green living convenient. And I want to bust the myth that going green is expensive.
It's expensive.
Because I don't have 1,000 ringgit a month to pay in car loan and fuel and all that other stuff. And I don't go shopping that much, because I live with the principle, you know, I only buy what I need. Rather than I buy what I get told by the consumption, you know, brainwashing out there, you need to buy all of this, and then we realize, you know, you have so many shoes in your cupboard and so much clothes, you can't even wear them, even if you wear something different once a month.
I guess different people have different lifestyle, but I guess trying to stick to the basic necessities of life. I guess me as a mom, as a wife, you know, somebody who cares, who take care of the house. How do we change? Because I know that talking a simple thing as cloth diaper. A lot of people say that, you know, cloth diaper uses more water while disposable doesn't use water, but yet clogs landfills.
Yes, yes.
So nothing is 100% green, because everything will what do you call that? Considering all products will use energy and create waste.
Yes.
So, you know, green, I guess, is quite
the green production.
yes,
or otherwise.
yeah. So green is quite relative. So how do we? Is it possible that once we have the knowledge, we can choose what is green to us according to our convenience and still respect the earth, you know, per se?
I think that's a very good question, Yasmin, because at the end of the day, sometimes you have to weigh different criteria, like am I going to create more waste, or am I going to reduce my electricity bill? We call this, if you do it scientifically, you need to do a life cycle assessment, analyze the environmental impact from cradle, extraction of raw material, production, use, and grave, which would be disposal. But now we want to move away from cradle to grave. We want to move from cradle to rebirth, giving waste materials a second life, or having waste materials like organic plastic nowadays, biodegradable plastic, giving it the chance to not stay there like styrofoam a million years, but actually biodegrade back to Mother Earth again.
Yes. So even cooking oil, you know, and so on.
The subject is complex because there are many different criteria, but simplistically speaking, I think organic food is better than normal food. Vegetarian is lower environmental impact than a meat-based diet, especially beef is quite heavy carbon footprint, heavy environmental impact. When it comes to diapers, if you do a light eco-friendly washing, then definitely the reusable diapers are better than the throwaway diapers because they generate a lot of waste. We think the waste, we give it away, then it's gone. But Malaysia has got a lot of landfill sites. Some of them don't necessarily have exactly the effluent control that is important to avoid toxic pollutants going into the local water. And I think we had a couple of months ago, one of the drinking water and household water supplies was cut off because there were toxic pollutants coming in. So a lot of the environmental degradation that we create today will cost our children loads of money in the future. And one of my Facebook fans said, when I asked them, hey, what should I say to mobilize Malaysians to go green? It was a bit grass what he said. He said, hey, we need to go green, otherwise we'll all die. And sometimes we talk about, you know, let's save the planet, but we need to save the human race, your children, our children, because that is really what's at threat. We have 7 billion on this small planet. We can't send people to the moon. So we have limited space, too many people, limited resources. We need to change. We need to become more efficient. The reason why people don't go green, because it doesn't hit them here today and now. You know, if it hits you today and your house is flooded, then you realize. I spoke with my mom yesterday in Germany. She said, oh, the weather is so strange, you know. It's not like it used to be 30 years ago when we had snow at this time. It was raining in my kampung in Germany. Same here in Malaysia. The weather patterns are completely changing. So it's hitting us. It's going to hit us in the future very hard. But we need to start realizing that today and get real in changing our lifestyle and living locally. This LOHAS concept stands for Lifestyle of Health and Sustainability. We need to link human health with as well the environment, because sometimes when I talk about the environment, people think, okay, it doesn't hit me, but your health, that is going to hit you today. If you live in an eco-friendly building with good air quality, your children can sleep well without getting toxic pollutants coming into their body. If you buy a condominium where people have used toxic building materials, then it's going to be bad for your children's health. We need to link it to eco and to health.
Right, that's putting us together, you know, in that environment that we're so trying to save. We often detach ourselves, saying we're humans, that's the environment. You know, it's two different things, but it's actually one and the same. A lot of talk of needing another planet, like you said, and more conferences today, they always say we need 2 planets, 1.5 planets. And the debate goes on as to how many planets we need. So when
we need to go back in time like Terra Nova.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Maybe that may be a solution. But when will we really run out of resources? That's the panic button that we're trying to avoid hitting. But I think we're getting closer to that.
Yeah, I mean, Malaysia, I think in 2 years' time, will become a net importer of fuel. That already is a sign on the wall that even a country with as huge resources as Malaysia is going to be paying a lot more by buying it in from outside rather than having all the resources here. With 7 billion on this planet, it's difficult to predict. And I think there have been scientifically many different opinions. That's why some people have given up as well, because they say, oh, the truth is so complex. And I don't know when we are going to run out of resources. I cannot predict, but I know it's going to happen sooner or later.
If you don't make changes, we don't.
Yes. Or if we come up suddenly with all sorts of artificial stuff, artificial food, you know, made from, and I don't really want to eat artificial food. And, you know, yes, but there are good signs, like Malaysia has just started, you know, something like the feed-in tariff to promote renewable energy. Okay, this will cost as well some money, but there will come a time where oil is going to be so expensive that renewable energy, as it becomes more efficient, will be competitive. And the Malaysian government is doing some great stuff to promote as well green technology, but we need to work together on humans, individuals changing their lifestyle, government doing it from top, and industry becoming more green in its practices. But the key is the consumer. If we all start buying green, buying healthy, then businesses will follow. So our purchasing power is the key to change the marketplace.